Hello and welcome back to YouTube channel. Today, we're diving into a question that many find intriguing. Why is Yemen one of the poorest countries in the Middle East, while neighboring Oman enjoys relative wealth and stability? Yemen and Oman share similar natural resources, geographic proximity, and centuries of rich history, but have taken very different paths. Let's examine the political, economic, and historical factors that have shaped these two nations, from the 1600s to today. Introduction. To understand why Yemen and Oman are so different today, we have to look beyond geography and resources. Both countries have access to valuable resources like oil and key maritime routes. But their diverging fortunes stem from their distinct histories, political paths, and economic policies. Today, let's start by looking back to the 1600s, a time that laid the groundwork for both nations' trajectories. Point 1. Historical context of the 1600s. In the 1600s, Yemen and Oman were both strategically located along major trade routes, connecting the Indian Ocean to the Red Sea and the Arabian Gulf. This made them important players in regional trade, especially with commodities like frankincense, myrrh, coffee, and spices, which passed through their territories. But their political situations were quite different even back then. In Yemen, the Zaydi Imamate governed the northern region, with a unique combination of religious and political authority. This brought some stability but also reinforced divisions between North and South Yemen, fueling internal conflicts that would persist into the future. Oman, meanwhile, was emerging as a maritime power. After expelling the Portuguese in the 1600s, Oman built a powerful navy and expanded influence across the Indian Ocean, establishing colonies in East Africa. This period marked the beginning of Oman's outward-looking strategy, using its strategic position for both economic growth and diplomatic leverage. Point 2. Geography and strategic choices. Yemen's mountainous terrain and fertile highlands led to a more agrarian society, while Oman's coastal geography fostered seafaring and trade. Oman became an outward-looking society that capitalized on its geographic advantages to build diplomatic alliances and expand trade networks, an approach that continues to benefit it today. Yemen, however, remained divided and largely agrarian, with strong tribal influences and less central control, which would shape its later struggles. Point 3. Sultan Qaboos and the transformation of Oman. One of the defining factors in Oman's modern success story is the leadership of Sultan Qaboos bin Said, who came to power in 1970. Before Qaboos, Oman was highly isolated, underdeveloped, and facing internal conflicts. Roads, hospitals, schools, these basic infrastructures were limited, and the economy was almost entirely dependent on subsistence farming and fishing. Sultan Qaboos initiated a transformation often referred to as the Omani Renaissance. He modernized the country by investing heavily in infrastructure, including roads, schools, hospitals, and airports. He introduced free healthcare and education, elevating the quality of life for Omanis and laying the foundation for a skilled workforce. Recognizing the need for economic stability, he also implemented policies to diversify Oman's economy beyond oil, promoting tourism, manufacturing, and logistics as alternative sources of income. Perhaps one of his greatest legacies is Oman's foreign policy. Qaboos adopted a stance of neutrality, fostering diplomatic relationships with a wide range of countries, including both Western and neighboring Gulf states, as well as Iran. This neutrality allowed Oman to avoid regional conflicts and build trust as a mediator, giving it political stability that attracts foreign investment and shields it from external tensions. The modernization efforts of Sultan Qaboos not only transformed Oman's economy but also created a sense of unity and national identity. The stability and prosperity Oman enjoys today are largely thanks to his vision and leadership. Point 4. Yemen's continued challenges and internal conflict. While Oman was stabilizing and modernizing under Qaboos, Yemen faced a different reality. After the unification of North and South Yemen in 1990, the country was riddled with political and tribal divisions. In 2014, the conflict between the government and Houthi rebels escalated into a full-blown civil war, with Saudi Arabia and Iran supporting opposite sides. The conflict has since created a humanitarian crisis and left Yemen with destroyed infrastructure, depleted resources, and deep-seated instability. The government's dependence on oil revenues, without the diversification seen in Oman, made Yemen's economy even more vulnerable. Limited investments in education, healthcare, and other public services left the country ill-prepared to withstand the pressures of war and poverty. Point 5. Economic management and the impact of historical choices. Oman's economic resilience comes from its strategy to diversify beyond oil. With initiatives like the Duke's Special Economic Zone and tourism campaigns, Oman has managed to reduce its dependency on oil and create new revenue streams. Yemen, however, remained heavily reliant on oil revenues, and the ongoing war has only worsened this dependency, pushing the country into a cycle of poverty and crisis. Conclusion. A tale of resilience and struggle. In summary, Yemen and Oman may share resources and geography, but their different approaches to governance, economic management, and historical legacies have led to contrasting futures. Oman's stability and wealth can be largely attributed to Sultan Qaboos's transformational leadership, investments in human capital, and a carefully managed foreign policy. Yemen's history of internal divisions, lack of centralized control, and external interference have left it vulnerable and struggling. This story reminds us that a nation's path to prosperity involves not just resources but also strong leadership, wise policy choices, and historical context. If you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and let us know in the comments which topics you'd like us to cover next. Thanks for watching.